What are the limitations of structuralist literary analysis? Imagine trying to understand a complex puzzle by only looking at the shapes of the pieces. That's similar to what structuralist literary analysis does. It sees literature as a system of signs and patterns. It focuses on how elements like themes, characters, and narrative forms relate to each other. The idea is that meaning comes from these relationships, not just from individual parts. But this approach has some clear limits. One big issue is that it treats texts as if they have fixed, universal structures. This means it often ignores what makes each work unique. For example, poetry and prose are full of personal voice, emotion, and creative choices. Structuralism tends to overlook these personal touches because it looks for broad patterns that apply across many texts. Another problem is that it assumes language is stable and predictable. Signs like words and symbols are seen as having fixed meanings within a system. But in poetry and modern prose, language is often tricky. Poets use metaphors, irony, and wordplay to challenge straightforward meanings. Structuralist analysis might miss these nuances because it prefers clear, consistent signs. Structuralism also tends to ignore the role of the author and the reader. It sees literature mainly as a product of underlying structures. This makes it hard to see how a poem or story can change meaning depending on who reads it or the time it was written. Different readers might interpret a text in many ways, but structuralism doesn't focus on that. Plus, it draws sharp lines between different types of language. For example, literal versus figurative speech or everyday versus poetic language. But in real life, many works blend these styles. Poems and stories often mix language levels and play with words in ways that don't fit neat categories. Structuralist analysis can struggle to handle these mixed styles. Finally, some critics say that structuralism can be too abstract. It often focuses on patterns and codes so much that it forgets the emotional or aesthetic experience of reading. Poetry and prose are meant to move us, surprise us, and make us feel something. Structuralism might overlook that because it's more about uncovering hidden systems than about the feelings a work can evoke. So, while structuralist analysis gives us useful tools to find patterns and understand how meaning is built, it has clear limits. It might miss the personal, emotional, and fluid aspects of literature, especially in poetry and prose. It's great for seeing the big picture but not always for capturing what makes each work special.